Megyn Kelly just absolutely destroyed everybody on The View. Whoopi Goldberg, especially Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and the rest of those wokies over there on The View. Megyn Kelly absolutely obliterated them. Let's get right into this clip titled, from Megyn Kelly, Joy Behar leaking in George Stephanopoulos, I think is how you pronounce his name, leaking bias over Trump verdict. Obviously, The View is going to have an absolute meltdown, probably throw a party over the guilty verdicts of the Trump trial that recently happened. But let's get into what Megyn Kelly has to say about The View and about Joy Behar specifically when it comes to this whole situation.
Right, sure. All right, but no one was worse than, I think it's fair to say, Joy Behar, who gave, from the Department of TMI. This was Joy on The View on Friday.
What was your reaction?
Well, my reaction was I was at Costco buying, 10 boxes of Keurig coffee, and my watch started to buzz, and I got so excited I started leaking a little bit.
Just crazy that she had said that on national television. Also crazy the real estate that Donald Trump has in these people's brains. It is absolutely nuts. I guarantee you that Donald Trump does not think a single second about you throughout this entire month, throughout, I don't even know, probably a couple times throughout his lifetime, but definitely not as regularly as you think about him. These people, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, the rest of them, are absolutely obsessed with this man. I have never seen anything like it. And it's not just them. It's also people like Bill Maher, even though Bill Maher has been waking up a little bit recently and he's not as, over the top. He's not as crazy when it comes to the Donald Trump, the TDS stuff. But it's even people, like somebody that comes to mind initially when I think of TDS is Mark Hamill. Like, so many of these actors and these public figures have just lost their minds, and all they can talk about, all they can think about on a daily basis is Donald Trump. And Joy Behar is probably one of, like Megyn Kelly said, probably one of, if not the worst offender of TDS. Donald Trump has completely taken over these people's brains. Like, they're gone. Donald Trump broke them. And I feel bad for their families because I guarantee this is just how these people are. Some of these people I think are grifters. The View, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and them, I think they are 100% obsessed with the man and probably talk about him and let him run their emotions on a daily basis, even to their family and stuff like that, dude. It's sad. It really is just sad.
Okay, just when you didn't think you could be more upset, you have to picture Joy Behar's vagina. I'm sorry.
Leaking out of Costco.
I don't want it. I didn't want any of the events that happened late last week. What's going on? Why? There's such a thing as TMI. There really is. Like, it was inappropriate. She's inappropriate. It was disgusting. And no one wants to be thinking about that. But on the larger point, that's how rabid they are. Mm-hmm. Like, it literally caused her to pee her pants. She was so excited to see Donald Trump convicted, like a 3-year-old seeing Goofy at Disney for the first time.
Well, imagine then you're having to make this decision about sentencing, and your biggest fans are the people that viscerally, they are
not even your biggest fans. Like, you are one of these people. 100%. Like, if there was a judge, and I know that they're supposed to be like super professional, they're supposed to put their emotions and biases aside. I understand that, but it's not always as easy as that, especially when your brain is completely taken up, completely controlled by Donald Trump. If you are one of these people, imagine Joy Behar or Whoopi Goldberg being a judge. Just imagine in the crazy world, they passed the bar exam and they became a lawyer and then became a judge. Imagine that, okay? There's no shot that they're not, swayed in one direction. There's just no way. There's no possible way. I don't care how many oaths you're sworn to. Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg are going to be biased. And it's not just them. It's a ton of these people who just have crazy TDS. Like, it's insane. So it's not just that these people are their fans. It's the the fact that themselves are also brainwashed. Their brains are broken by this man, by Donald Trump. It is insane. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
They have a lust for Trump to go to prison. Mm-hmm. So that's why I still don't rule it out. Yeah, I wouldn't put money on it, but I still don't rule it out because that's who he's responsive to. And she is representative of such a tiny, tiny slice of the population. And I don't deny that it's real. I don't think it's exclusively rich white women who watch MSNBC. I'm sure there are some other people who really, really hate Trump and want him to go to prison. But it's not the majority of the country on this case. It just isn't. And this is where this was the battle they chose. The hill they chose to die on.
I said this on Friday, but I heard more of it over the weekend. You could actually hear the smiles.
If you enjoyed this content, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Like in some of the podcasts and the radio broadcasts about this verdict. And then when you watched some of the, leftist media, there it was again. I mean, it's like, but for the word hallelujah, it's all in there. They're just overjoyed. Here's a little, speaking of joys, from Joy Behar to Joy Reid. Watch this in SOT 15.
This case was brought in a state that no Republican controls. Because if it did, the same thing that happened in Georgia would have happened here. Thank God for the state of New York, Donald Trump's home state, because there was no way for him to interfere with the process of justice. And in this rare...
Isn't it just insane? I feel like I'm saying this in every single video that I post now, that both sides use the same exact arguments against each other. And both sides will also simultaneously act like the other side is absolutely insane. Like what Megyn Kelly, this clip that Megyn Kelly is playing here of Joy Reid saying that thank God that this election, or this trial wasn't held in a different state. It was held in New York, a state where Donald Trump couldn't control the outcome. And, I'm sure people like Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, The View, Bill Maher, everybody like that, they all agree with Joy Reid here. But people are saying the complete opposite on the other side, and both sides fully believe. And I know that you're thinking, yeah, but we're obviously right. We're obviously correct, right? And I believe that we are, yes, that there's some foul play going on here, but they are also fully convinced that they are correct. And this is it's just a recurring theme over so many different topics, over so many different controversies that have been coming up. I always bring it back to the last election, the 2020 election, when right before it, in the lead up to that election, everybody was saying, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, AOC, all these people were saying, don't get the Trump jab. It's going to kill you if you get it, all this stuff. They were saying that. They were saying, I would never get a Trump jab. But then Joe Biden gets elected and you're evil if you don't get it. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing that Trump developed. And the reason why I think that Donald Trump isn't completely sold out to becoming a politician and sold out to, the people that everybody else is sold out to that I'm not going to discuss. The reason why I don't think he's sold out is because he never changed. He never switched on it. He still is shilling for his jab. He still is. And so is Joe Biden, shilling for the same jab. So, and that's going to lose Donald Trump votes at the end of the day, because his voter base don't like that. They don't like the jab stuff right now. But the more important point is 2020, or in the lead up to the 2020 election, everybody was saying, don't get the Trump jab, don't get the Trump jab, blah blah blah. Then Joe Biden gets elected, it completely does a 180. And the whole time, all the leftists, all the wokies out there were fully on board with, don't get the Trump jab, I would never get this, it's going to kill you, all this stuff, it's experimental, all this stuff. And then Joe Biden gets elected, and all of those people just completely 180 with a snap of a finger as soon as Joe Biden gets elected. And they all say, oh, if you don't get this, you're evil. And it's like they're fully convinced that they are correct. And the same thing goes here. A lot of it revolves around Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is really polarizing and breaks a lot of people's brains. We're seeing it with Joy Behar. We're seeing it with Whoopi Goldberg, Bill Maher, Mark Hamill, all the names that I brought up. He breaks a lot of people's brains, and he's very, very polarizing. So it's normally revolving around Donald Trump, situations with Donald Trump. But it's just wild to me how two sides who are on the complete opposite sides of a situation are fully convinced. Both of them are fully convinced that they're 100% correct, and there's no way that the other side can be correct. That's just blowing my mind recently, is all the things that I'm picking up on with that.
For instance, as somebody who's quite critical many times of the criminal justice system, the system actually worked the way it is supposed to work.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it worked because it worked out in your favor. Therefore, it works properly. And then you also go back to the nefarious things happening with the elections. 2016, Hillary lost, so that the election is rigged. All of her fan base, all the lefties, all the wokies say, yes, 100%. There's, Russian collusion. Donald Trump stole the election, all this stuff. And then 2020, Donald Trump loses. And by the way, everybody on the right was saying that's absolutely crazy. There's no way that the election was rigged. The election wasn't stolen by Trump. 2020 comes around, Donald Trump loses. All the people on the right are saying the election's rigged, the election's stolen. Donald Trump fully believes it now. And Hillary Clinton said the same thing in 2016, and nobody believed her on the right. But now that the right, the conservative, the Republican is losing, they all believe that that's rigged. And I'm sure whenever Trump wins the next one, the other side's going to say the same exact thing. It's just a cycle that I I'm really picking up on a whole lot more prominently recently. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about what Megyn Kelly had to say about this whole situation with Joy Behar saying that crazy stuff live on air. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole Megyn Kelly versus The View in the comments.